This is for those who believe in the potential of science, making brave choices, choosing to push the boundaries. This is why we believe in what science can do.
So today we're going to talk about the cosmos of lasers in ophthalmology, but exactly just chapter 1, given the time that we have to do this. And we're going to talk about the cosmos of lasers in ophthalmology by going through a journey with me of how I followed my dreams. And I hope that you will follow your dreams, not simply because of what I did, but because of what's inside of you. So, series of questions. 1, so how did Baby Patsy become Dr. Pat Bath? And by the way, that's my granddaughter. Question 2, how did she invent LASERPHACO? And we're going to go into detail about that. It's a procedure for removing cataracts invented in the 1980s. What is LASERPHACO? What is a laser? But a fundamental question is, what discovery led to the idea of using lasers for surgery of the eye? If anyone has the answer to that, come up and join me on the stage. I am going to ask questions, and in addition to having fun and learning, there are going to be prizes. Well, in order to begin to answer these questions, in the beginning was light. Would everyone take the rainbow peephole that you were given and look at this light? What you should see is a version of what I call rainbow colors. I love the rainbow, and light and rainbows are inspiring to me. So my first question is, what is light? And I'm asking you, I want someone to answer that question and come up and get the first door prize. What is light? Come. Okay, announce your name and your school and give the answer.
Aaron Chan, and I'm from LC Bird. Light is just made up of photons.
Excellent. Please have a seat. Please have a seat up front, because we haven't finished with you. Now, a piece of advice. When I was a student, I would always sit in the front of class. Early bird gets the worm. Okay. So I want another answer. That's part of the answer. Well, I borrowed this slide from a friend of mine, Dr. Don Silberman in Los Angeles, a member of my club, the Optical Society of America. And this is what he said. He said, light is radiation we can see. Is that correct, or is that partially correct? Can someone talk to that? Way in the back.
Tristan De Verona, I'm from St. Louis School.
Okay, so please give your answer.
Yes, it is. Light is radiation we can see, because there's multiple forms of radiation, and some radiations you can't see, and light is definitely one that you can see.
Okay, excellent. Now, before I answer, next student.
I'm Izama from St. Louis School. Light is radiation we can see, but it's also the opposite of darkness.
And both of you are brilliant. That's really both of you are brilliant. So basically, everyone is correct, but and my friend Dr. Silberman is also correct. Light is radiation we can see, but it's also, there is also light that is invisible in the infrared spectrum and in the ultraviolet spectrum. That's considered light. So it's the visible and the invisible. And the human eye can see in the electromagnetic spectrum from approximately 400 to 700 nanometers, and some people say 390 up to 690, but basically. So there's the visible and invisible part of the spectrum. That's just another part of the electromagnetic spectrum shown here. Now, another person gave me this slide, and this slide talks about light as a wavelength. And actually, it shows how many colors. How many colors does this slide show? Right. Interesting. What color is missing? Come.
My name's Almer. I'm from LC Bird, and is it indigo?
Exactly, exactly. Woo! I like that bow. Okay, so my friend left out indigo. And he left out indigo. Did you leave out indigo because of Newton? Yes. Okay. Well, that's a good answer because actually there are more than 7 colors. There's an infinite number of colors. We just want to name approximately 7 that most people can recognize. What about pink? What about turquoise? Exactly. Next question. Why did Newton decide on 7? Why did he only name 7 colors?
My name is Connor, and I go to Flint Hill. And I was going to say kind of what she said. Like, you can make different colors off of just like red, blue, and yellow, and you can make an infinite amount off of that. And pretty much he just named the 7 main colors. Or 6, sorry.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Connor. What Newton did say, according to my experts, you know who my experts are? No, Google. Google and Wikipedia. Newton wanted there to be equilibrium in the universe. He didn't want to upset the church, and he didn't want to upset the musicians. And because there were 7 days in a week and 7 notes in a musical scale, he said, let's call it 7. Okay. And as you know, a prism can take white light and disperse it into the colors. However, and that's through a mechanism of refraction, but the pinholes that you received disperse the light via a mechanism of diffraction. And light can take many paths. Some of it is reflected, refracted, diffracted, and of course some is absorbed and re-radiated. So now we're getting to the question of how was it decided that lasers could be used to treat the eye? The answer is a brilliant ophthalmologist named Dr. Meyer Zwickerath. He came up with the idea after one of his students watched an eclipse on July 10th, 1945. Watched the eclipse, and he saw burns in the retina, in the part of the retina called the macular. And so when he made this observation of solar burns in the retina, and here is a diagram of the eye, and the retina is in the posterior segment of the eye, and the macular is the central portion of the retina with which we derive our 20/20 vision. A solar burn can cause a hole in the retina, and this ocular tomography diagram shows what it would look like, a hole in the retina. When he saw the macular burn, and he had patients who had retinal detachments, he thought of the idea of using the sun, the energy of the sun, to stitch a hole, to stitch the retina back to the eye where the retina had fallen. So he was using the concept of create a burn or a scar, and that burn or scar would cause the retina to adhere again. So that was a wow moment, a revolutionary moment in science when he made that observation of a solar burn causing a retinal scar, and he thought of the potential of using light as a tool to stitch the retina back. Now, the sun causes the damage through thermal energy being released, and so that's called photocoagulation. He actually invented the sun photocoagulator, which is in a museum in Germany, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to do as many of these as we could in California because it's kind of cloudy over there, but nevertheless, people would see him on the roof of the hospital with his device, and you do what you have to do. But he had a dream too. He wanted a better way. But he had to wait for that dream. Can anyone tell me who Dr. Maimon was?
My name is Matthew. I'm from St. Louis School, and he was the person who invented the laser.
Wow. Okay, that's wonderful, Matthew. Here, you take two. Yeah, Dr. Ted Maimon invented the laser in 1960. And one of the mechanisms of the laser is the absorption. So the sun caused thermal damage through one mechanism of photocoagulation, whereas the laser, you can tune, you can program the laser to achieve different mechanisms of tissue interaction. And the first laser, the ruby laser, was used to have photochemical burns. Would you play the first video?
As 2010 celebrates the 50th anniversary of the invention of the laser by Dr. Ted Maimon. We honor that invention by teaching school children the science, technology, and physics of lasers.
So, laser, light amplification by simulated emission of radiation. We thank Dr. Maimon for that. The 50th anniversary was in 2010 and created a little video to honor him. And by the way, I have an app that will really go into the what, the why, and the how of lasers. You can find it at iTunes. So another little point in my journey was that I was fortunate enough to be at Columbia University, and some of the pioneers in the use of the laser for the eye, Dr. Campbell, who was the first person to use the ruby laser. He also was involved in the early testing of the ruby laser. And Dr. Fran Lesperance, who has many patents, not only related to use of the laser for retinal surgery, but also for cataract surgery. So, interestingly, as we go through the journey of how the discovery that light could create burns and how light was involved in photocoagulation, most of those inventions related to the retina, the back of the eye. Let me go back. And currently, most recent inventions have been for the front of the eye, the cornea, LASIKs, and cataract surgery, LASERPHACO and Femto laser cataract surgery. So the technology has evolved from using the laser to use single pinpoint burns to programming a computer that gives you the ability to control the spot size, the energy density therefore, as well as the pattern. A grid pattern was created here in what's called pan-retinal photocoagulation, or PRP. Here's an example of the patterns that are used to treat, in this case, diabetic retinopathy. So, what was the next step for me? I was not a retinal surgeon. I was interested in things like corneal transplantation and refractive surgery. So what does it take? Well, after undergraduate days at Hunter College, which I got a Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry with a major in Math and Physics, I went on to Howard University and received a degree in medicine, and then I taught at UCLA. I need to mention the advent of the Excimer laser. It was around the same time that the movie Star Wars came out, because the Excimer was used as a military laser. And laser pioneer, one of my mentors, was Dr. Danielle Aaron Rosa, and she invented the YAG laser for posterior capsulotomy. What inspired me was the precision of the laser, and Srinivasan demonstrated how the Excimer could etch precisely on circuit boards. That singular observation and invention led to the use of the laser to cut the cornea and also to cut the lens. And on the right, you see an example of corneal incisions, which then led to LASIKs. And my cuts or drill holes on the lens, which led to LASERPHACO. So in the LASIKs procedure, you outline the area to be cut, you use the laser to create the flap, and then after you've created the flap, you shave the surface of it. So the laser creates the flap, and then what you do is you etch, you shave a contact lens surface on the surface of the cornea, so you don't wear the contact, it's created on the surface. Okay, next. The Excimer laser. This is the laser that I use to do LASERPHACO. Let's go back to the anatomy a bit. And here's an example of a diagram of the eye. And the cataract that you see here, which is any opacity of the lens. And now, here is a diagrammatic dissection on the right and a real dissection of an eye bank eye. Let's look inside. Let's see what's inside. Okay, this is what's inside. So, you can see the lens and the lens nucleus. And we've used some UV light in the visible wavelength so that you can see what passes through the lens, the blue light. So this is one of my videos showing LASERPHACO. So here we are going into the lens nucleus, removing the cataract by having laser pulses photoablate the lens. Now, invention. Invention is really like a comet. It's a moment in time. And LASERPHACO was invented in the 80s. And there's a lifetime for inventions. Remember, I said that my experts were Google. And you can see that I'm listed in the Google timeline for laser cataract surgery. But it has evolved since then, as we expect. A patent has a lifetime of maybe 17 years or 20 years. And so now, scientific advancements demand change. Change is a part of discovery. LASERPHACO is not as popular today as FemtoPHACO, and the new guy on the block is called ZeptoPHACO. Scientific integrity is very important in research. There has to be truth. There has to be ethical research. Human subjects need to be protected. They're not guinea pigs. And there needs to be financial disclosures. So the big difference, one of the big differences between LASERPHACO and FemtoPHACO is in FemtoPHACO, we've been able, the technology on laser science has improved so we can get it down to a quadrillionth of a second, whereas my LASERPHACO was a billionth of a second. So with shorter pulse durations, you have different, less effects and less complications. And Zepto is a sectillionth of a second. Femto, if you can quickly start that video. Now, you have to pretend that you're in the inside of the eye, sitting near the optic nerve, and looking forward. This is called a Miyake view. And this is some femtosecond laser cataract surgery. And the computer is going to create a grid, just as I showed you the grid for the retinal. And now you're going to see, so you create a grid of laser shots. So the technology has gone from nanosecond to femto to Zepto. And Dr. Chang has invented the Zepto laser procedure. So my question to you is, when will your discovery and invention replace LASERPHACO, FemtoPHACO, and ZeptoPHACO? I don't know. Okay, start this, and the students who answered the questions, if you'll come up front. Think of invention as a revolution, and it's a revolution like the revolution of our country. Don't give up your shot. Tell me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do it, own it, don't give up your shot. Next student. Can we use what happened to the mic? Let them use their mic, go ahead.
Biomedical engineer.
Could you play it again, please?
A biomedical engineer.
You want to dance, right? Okay, go ahead. What's your shot?
Astrophysicist.
Woo, great. Next.
I think I might be, I don't know, I might be,
Wonderful, a STEM field. Young lady in the back.
I'm a computer engineer.
Excellent. Don't give up your shot.
I want to work in information technology.
Excellent.
Oh, like him, a biomedical engineer.
Awesome. Finally.
Electrical engineer.
Okay, applause for these students. So my message to you guys is, whatever your dream is, own it, do it, don't give up your shot. STEM is great. Yay.